John Ostronomy from Talking Metal. I'm here with Mark Strigl and our very special guest, Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater.
What's up? We are here with 3/5 of Turtlehead. This is the big Turtlehead reunion year, man.
Absolutely. We got to do it again
in
person, you know, with all the same guys.
Totally.
And you guys did it with at the Hell Show, right? Almost like a complete
Turtlehead
Turtlehead
I did
reunion.
some shows with Hale, and Bobby Blitz and Frankie Bello came out and came on stage, and we did Overkill that night, and it was like the big Turtlehead reunion.
I love it.
How was it playing with Hale? Do you enjoy playing? I mean, you do a lot of covers.
I thought you were going to say, how was it playing with those guys without us playing guitar? Now, Hale was awesome, man. Hale was like a dream gig for me. You know, like I was a kid in a candy store, just doing classic metal and thrash covers, you know, the classic stuff like Priest and Maiden and Sabbath and Kiss, and then, you know, all the way to like the early thrash years, like early Metallica and Slayer and some Sepultura. For me, it was a blast. You know, everyone kind of knows me as the prog metal guy with Dream Theater, but the fact of the matter is, I mean, I'm a metalhead through and through, and that's my roots. That's in my blood, and to do that gig was a total treat.
Cool. And Dream Theater has been known to do sometimes entire albums of you know, of covers. Any plans to do that with Dream Theater again?
No, there's no plans for that now. I mean, that was a kind of a tradition that I came up with, where if we do 2 nights in the same city, when we were doing the Evening With tours, and if there were 2 nights in the same city, the second night we would cover a classic album, and we did Master of Puppets, we did Number of the Beast, we did Dark Side of the Moon, and Deep Purple's Made in Japan. But, you know, as of now, there's no Evening With tours in the works, but if and when there are in the future, then yeah, the tradition will continue.
So you guys, speaking of Number of the Beast, are out with Iron Maiden right now. Were all the members of Dream Theater Maiden fans?
Some more so than others. I mean, really, myself, John Petrucci, and John Mayung, you know, we are the 3 founders of Dream Theater. And when we formed the band 25 years ago, Maiden was like the blueprint that we were born out of. Really, when we formed Dream Theater, we wanted to be a cross between Maiden and Rush, and that was like what our goals were with the sound of Dream Theater. So for the 3 of us especially, you know, it's totally a dream come true. They're absolutely one of our biggest influences.
Now, you guys started the band up at Berklee in '85, and Mark, we were up there in '87.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, like, how long did you stay at Berklee?
We were at Berklee for 1 year, 2 semesters, 85 into 86, and we met each other within the first couple weeks of school. And, well, I met them. Those 2 were up there together, and I met them, and we formed Dream Theater. Yeah. And after spending a year there and really getting to know each other and, you know, forming the nucleus of Dream Theater, we decided to just pursue that dream, and we left Berklee after 2 semesters.
I wanted to ask you, at one point you said there, you know, at this point Dream Theater definitely does not need to open for anybody, but you chose to do the Maiden tour, which is, I'm sure, partly just simply because you respect Maiden so much. Is that the case?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we've been doing this for a long time now, and we've made a career out of headlining and doing it our ways. And throughout this 25-year career, we've only been an opening band twice before this. We did a tour with Deep Purple in '98, and we did a tour with Yes in 2004. So we really made a career out of doing it our way. But I've always said, you know, there were still 3 bands on that wish list, and if we got the call, we'd pack up and go. And it was Maiden, Metallica, and Rush. Those are the 3 remaining bands we would absolutely change all of our plans for to tour with. So when we got the call from Maiden to do it, you know, we weren't planning on touring at this point of the album cycle. We were planning on being done, but when Maiden calls, you pack up your bags and you go.
And you are staying so busy. The Avenged Sevenfold record is coming out at the end of this month, July 2010, and you will be going right out on the road with them. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm doing this whole tour with Dream Theater and Maiden, and it ends July 20th, and then I begin rehearsals with Avenged Sevenfold July 21st, so literally the next day, and then I head out with them for the rest of the year. But it's crazy. I'm doing this whole North American tour with Maiden and Dream Theater, and then I'm going to go out and do like practically the same exact venues all over again. It's going to be like Groundhog Day for me.
And what was it like working with those guys? Obviously young guys.
Well, I'll say that...
Very different style of music.
different style of music in some respect. I mean, those guys are younger, and they have, they're way more mainstream than Dream Theater, at least here in America, in terms of their, career. But, they had a lot of, they're great musicians, and they have a lot of that kind of shredding, side to the band. So it may not be as unnatural as some people may think. I mean, those guys, or at least Jimmy and Matt, the Rev and them Shadows, are huge Dream Theater fans. So it was more of a natural fit than some people may think on the surface. But, it was an amazing experience because of the emotional aspect of it. These guys were only a few weeks after the Rev's funeral, and they were obviously, still in serious mourning, and they had never played with another drummer before. They'd been together since like grade school. So for them to be in the studio with another drummer was, a big adjustment and an emotional experience for them. And for me, it was an honor to be chosen to come in and do something like that in such an emotional, situation. And, after a couple days of getting comfortable and just getting past that nervous feeling that they were going through, then it all fell into place, and we hit it off great. I mean, musically, we locked perfectly, and, I'm happy with the way the album came out. And personally, we totally hit it off. It was an experience that really bonded us. It was more than just a recording session for me. It was an emotional experience.
Now, on this tour, you guys are doing, a little bit of a shorter set, and you're not doing some of the tunes that you would normally do on a headlining Dream Theater tour. Tell us how you pick the tunes that are on this.
Well, when we do a normal Dream Theater tour, I always write a set list that is completely aimed at our fans, and I look at every set list from a particular city. So when we play New York, I'll look at what we played in New York the previous 2 or 3 times, and I'll write a set list that's
different,
completely different, doesn't repeat anything. However, the purpose of this tour with Maiden is, and I say this with all due respect to our fans, that we're not aiming this set list at our fans. We're aiming this set list at Maiden fans.
Right.
And we're trying to make some new fans out of their fan base. So I wrote a set list for this tour that's the same every night. I just basically thought of what would be the ultimate set list to grab these people and have them kind of get a crash course in the metal side of Dream Theater.
Right.
And I wrote a 6-song set list, which basically is all of the hits that never were, but all the hits that should have been. A Rite of Passage, Constant Motion, Pull Me Under. The stuff that's a little bit more accessible and a lot more metal.
Cool.
Are you doing Panic Attack?
Yeah, Panic Attack actually, strangely enough, has become one of our most popular songs as a result of it being in Rock Band 2.
Yeah.
For so many years, we lived in the shadow of Pull Me Under, and that was our only hit. But now Panic Attack, because of Rock Band 2, it's like our #1 most downloaded song on iTunes because kids, know the song from that.
A new generation of
absolutely.
fans too. Yeah, who then go on to discover, hopefully, your other music.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I wanted to ask you about the Transatlantic project. Are you doing any more stuff with them this year?
Well, the rest of my year is going to be with Avenged Sevenfold,
right.
But I just did do 2 months of touring with Transatlantic in between the Dream Theater tours, and Transatlantic is real old school prog, quote unquote supergroup, guys from different prog bands, and I put that project together just to kind of pay tribute to that side of what I love.
I always thought prog was a cool thing, and I know that you had mentioned in previous interviews that for a while some people weren't thinking it was that cool, and then now all these bands like Mastodon or Muse, everybody is doing it now, and it's a cool thing. But you guys stuck to it and just did it, and
we've been prog all along.
Right.
We're not jumping on the prog bandwagon.
Right,
we've
started it.
We've been waving that flag proudly for over 20 years now, and we were never ashamed to admit it. We were prog from the beginning. We formed this band because we were trying to fill that void that, all of our favorite prog bands like Yes, Rush, Genesis, in the mid-'80s when we formed, they were doing 5-minute pop songs.
Right.
So we wanted to, hear those 15-minute epics with this crazy musicianship, and we also wanted to have that metal edge because we were listening to Maiden and Priest and Sabbath. So that's where Dream Theater formed, but we've always been proud to be prog.
So, Mike, thanks very much for hanging out with Talking Metal.
My pleasure. Good seeing you
Turtlehead,
guys.
And we definitely got to get together and jam again.
Anytime. You know where to reach me, man.
Absolutely.
Cool. Hey, this is Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater, and you're watching Talking Metal.